Being live streamed, and I can't hear you. Well, damn. Let's see. Can you hear me? This has been a day of technology goof ups, I think. I don't know. I do not hear a thing you are saying.
How about now?
Oh, I'm hearing you now.
Scary.
Damn, that is wonderful. Your sweet dulcet tones are coming over the airwaves.
Oh my goodness.
What a day. I mean, just for you folks at home, we were in our offices and the internet went out on one side and I was okay. And then it came back on that side and mine went out. And I really literally had to do our meeting through my phone, which was okay. But,
Well, you gotta love it for everybody out there. I mean, we actually are owed almost $3,000 currently by Verizon, and we're waiting for the credit to kick in, and then figuring that's applied to the new bill. They shut us off. Don't you
yeah,
just
I,
that
I
that's
got a little message that, you could have service if you pay your bill.
yeah, well, apparently not. Uh, but anyway, they owe us money. And they want me to go over there after this and pay them. The credit hasn't been applied yet after almost a month, but come pay us again. Don't
Now,
worry, John. It's been escalated.
so
Doesn't
yeah,
everyone love that
I,
in the business world? I mean, we're Verizon Business. You call the toll-free number on the bill. You get first, you get transferred around and around. Um, I would say with the number of times I've had to call them, 90% of the time, it goes immediately to a consumer representative that then explains to me after getting the account number, oh, and a few minutes later, oh, this is a business account. Yeah. Well, I need to transfer you there. Well, why is the toll-free number on the business bill transferring me to the consumer division? And then you get transferred overseas, and good luck. Customer service today leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not sure if anybody else out there experiences these things, but it's a great way to spend hours of your day while people try and figure out how to really take care of people. So anyway, but that's
so
what we do for a
here's
living, like
but here's
customer
the thing. Here's
service.
the thing, if you happen to speak Marathi and a little bit of Hindi, which I do, it really helps. Because then I can say, well, where are you from? What's your name? And I say that in Marathi or Hindi, and it's like, oh, the lights light up and we get there quicker.
I think
So
I have to be preconditioned and start going to certain restaurants more frequently.
I don't have very good luck when it's Tagalog though, because,
Well, you did live in India for how long?
well, yeah, for quite a while. I mean, depending upon how you count, I've been there 13 times and. But of course, Tagalog is from the Philippines, and I've never been there. Although my fourth grade teacher was a Filipino, and he was wonderful, but he
Awesome.
never spoke Tagalog. So,
Maybe that would have been good.
well,
Well,
listen, maybe these are part of the things that will keep us fresh and energized. Isn't
well,
that kind
that's
of a subject matter?
it is. We're talking about how to keep the fire going in your career. And I think days like this are indicative of life, right?
Yeah,
Life's gonna happen.
it
Not
happened.
every day. It's weird how that happens. Life tends to throw curveballs at you. And I think uh, people's ability to get through life, if you will,
Mhm.
tends to shift them into a place where they think they need the rest of the day to recover. Like if we're done with this, I'm going to need the rest of the day to recover from what's just transpired. I might even need tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
it's
that's one way of putting it. I don't know that all the burnout comes from all of the terrible things, though. I think a lot of the burnout comes from things being just, repetitive or the same, or, now I've dealt with 15 different people who are angry at me, and, you know, and how can I get through the next customer or client?
well, I kind of, but that's part of what we do. That's part of our business, and it's not the action is repetitive in many
Mhm.
regards when it's prospecting or when it's going through a transaction and the things that you have to do. But the scenario is always different. That,
Always.
yeah, that is never the same. And but people get, and we've seen it. You've seen it, I've seen it. People do tend to, and it's not just the real estate career, so this applies to anybody. People can get burned out.
I think the thing about real estate is that it can become a 24/7 job. And if you're answering your phone around the clock, or you're waiting for that very next text message from a client who's very nervous about things, and you haven't set expectations about when you're available, that's the first piece. And the second piece is that I've noticed that real estate agents tend to be fixers, and they want to fix everything. They want to take care of everybody, but they forget about taking care of themselves. I,
That's a very accurate statement.
yeah.
A lot of people do not put the boundaries in place to be handled and seen as a professional.
Right.
Uh, we're talking about things like transactionally or what have you, or I have to see a home and like it's a 911 scenario, like it's
Right.
a health issue. But I promise you today, even with health issues, even at the ER, you're going to wait. You're going to wait an unspecified, if you will, amount of time. And if it's not an ER or urgent care matter, you're going to wait a week, month, maybe several months before you see the professional. And nobody has to wait that long in this business, not even close. But I think you're right. We feel like we have to be reactionary, and to a degree, it kind of takes away from our ability to be perceived as a professional because we look like we're always there. We're ready to
Yeah.
go,
No, I think
ready to
there,
ready to chase.
but there's some mechanical things that, an agent can do right from the start that could help set those boundaries and expectations. Maybe publishing a script that just says, "Hey, these are my working hours and I am off this day," for example. Maybe using some autoresponders, maybe blocking time out for personal or family time on your calendar and treating it like it's an appointment.
Yeah,
Because if
the
it's an
most
appointment with
right,
one client,
most
you don't interrupt that, right?
yeah, the most important appointment you have should be for yourself and the relationships that are most important to you and the commitments that you've made that surround all that. And understanding what types of activities you probably have to engage in when most people aren't going to contact you. And do I feel great working out in the morning? I've learned to. That wasn't my that wasn't the time that I enjoyed working out originally, but anymore, I've got to get to the gym prior to 6 to get out of there by time that people are going to engage in needing something from me. And if I allow for things to interrupt it, that's a problem. And if I put that appointment for myself, working out, staying in shape, trying to take care of myself in the time that my wife and I have in the morning at the gym, that's a problem. But if I do that, if I made that in the afternoon, more than likely there would be several occasions every week where there would be a challenge on that time. And shame on me because I know it's going to happen. So why would I set myself up for failure in that scenario?
Well, I mean, I'm somewhat similar in some ways. Some years ago, actually, maybe some decades, some time ago, I realized that I did not have any time to do some of the things that I needed to do for myself. Even simple things like maybe meditating or doing some physical exercise, or even something as simple as doing a puzzle. Because for me, doing a few puzzles a day, it kind of helps my brain remain sharp and I enjoy it. So I thought, well, when can I do that? And I realized the only time when I would just not be available because nobody else was probably about 4 in the morning. So I started waking up very early and doing all of my stuff in the morning, and it was so rewarding. Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. I would, what are some of the things, the signs or traits that you've seen where you start to see people burning out? Um, for me, one of them is lack of structure.
Yep.
I mean, we are in a business where so many people come to it as almost like a default a lot of times, because you can get a license in a fairly short period of time, pass a test, and you're going to work for yourself. You're going to set your own schedule. I have freedom. Most people don't know what to do with that freedom,
Hmm.
and they become lost. And I think the people who have the most structure in how they tend to their day and their routines, and I'm talking routines early in the morning, what they do to get prepared for the day, and end of the day routines, I think are just as important. It's like how you enter the day and how you exit the day can really help define a lot of what happens in between. And most people, because they only work for themselves, they don't really have the uh, the discipline, if you will, to structure their days and their weeks in a in a meaningful way.
So let me take off on that just a little bit. And I agree with you. When you start seeing an agent becoming totally unstructured in what they're doing and being a little panicky about, oh my God, I've got this to do and this to do and this to do, and then it's like just chasing one task after another task after another task. But there is another way to like organize this that I've seen effective for some people. And
Yep.
it's if you kind of think about waiters in a restaurant, when they really get busy, they figure out somehow or another how to take the order on table two, drop the water on table one, pick up the order from the kitchen, drop it off, and take the dirty plates back all in one trip. So, if you can, rather than going here and then there and then there and then there, and some of the more successful agents I've seen can do that. They will organize their life so that the trips all make sense to them, and it gets compacted so that they have time to do other things.
Yeah. Thinking through all of it and having efficiencies in your processes make all the difference in the world. When you're doing the same task over and over, like an email, for example, an
Right.
opening email to, if you will, open escrow.
Hmm.
So you've got an accepted contract, you know that you represent a buyer. How does that email flow? What's the content? Well, why wouldn't you already have some of this pre-formatted, be able to copy and paste the specifics about this transaction rather
Hmm.
than starting from word one again? And most people don't have the discipline to do those things, and they wind up using time on these repetitive tasks without taking a moment to take two steps back in order to eliminate steps into the future.
Here's another little strategy that really can work to help people, and that is to start eliminating the things that don't make you the money. If you take a look at if you just take a look at all the things that you were doing, some of those things somebody else could do. And you could pay them to do that, and you would then have the time to have your own life or make more money to pay them. I mean, literally, here's a good example from my life. At one point, I was a full-time selling agent, and I took on a 4 hour a day job reviewing contracts. And I thought, man, this is going to be a hit to my income. How am I going to manage that? Because I really had filled my entire day with what I did in real estate to become successful. So I thought, okay, 4 hours out of the day, but I still have to have a life. How am I going to do that? And my first thought was, I'm going to give every transaction away that I know is going to be tough and just give it to somebody who needs it. And if it's below this certain amount, I'm just giving it. And if it's above this certain amount, I'm going to ask for a referral. And that way, I will focus the time that I have on real estate on the things that really are valuable to me. And I'll also increase my goodwill among the agent community by handing off deals. And boy,
Right.
I made more money that year, not less. So,
Yeah, 100%. I don't think enough people sit down and truly understand how to make sure that there's a supreme focus on the amount and quality of hours you
mhm,
spend on revenue producing activities.
mhm.
And I think it's with all the different tools available today, with social media and being an influencer, if you will. And there are a lot of people that get into this business and they think they're going to be an influencer and stand inside a pretty house that they don't even represent. And they're going to keep doing that. And that's going to be their marketing and their task for the day.
Mind you, that those
That's,
are entertaining
yeah.
videos, but I don't know that I would use that agent to sell my house.
Well, it becomes work avoidance,
Hmm.
the things that truly matter. And if you're going to do things like that, that's fine. Content creation, social media, all these things I think can absolutely be important to somebody's business, but it's not at the expense of the things that are actually going to help you to transact, to create relationships and move your business forward. And if it takes you an hour to do that video or 2 hours to do that video today, you should probably plan on doing 2 to 3x that with the activities that are truly going to make you the money. Otherwise, it is no different than saying, okay, I'm going to be a success. I'm going to successfully do better things for my health. I'm going to eat better. And I'm going to meal plan. Oh, but wait, before I meal plan, you know what I'm going to do every day? I'm just going to have dessert. I'm going to just eat dessert every day because that's fun.
Life is
That's
short.
not
Eat dessert
that's not
first.
going to work for very long.
And even shorter if you only eat dessert.
Right. But that's kind of what it is. If you're just doing the things you want to do rather than things you have to do or should do, this is going to be a very short-lived career for you.
Okay, well, walking down that line a little bit,
Hmm.
I have noticed that there are some people who, when they get stressed and when they start burning out, they start trying to make some little thing perfect, whatever it might be. And I'm telling you that perfection is the enemy of success. If you worry about everything being perfect in this world of forms, forget about it. It ain't going to happen.
True. 100%. I've seen agents over the years. They're perfecting their presentation. They're perfecting their listing presentation, and they're revamping their marketing. Well, have you been on an appointment yet? Well, no.
No, get out of
You
the office. You're
you
not
might
selling
want
a
to
house
think
here.
about your priorities here because you could be the best performance in the world, but if nobody's paying to play, it's not going to really matter. And people tend to avoid those things that really move the needle. And you see that even it's not just people that function individually either. So I do know that there are teams out there, of course, and they can help with, if you will, quote unquote, accountability. But if the time frame in which you're supposed to be doing the activities to justify the spend on the lead gen
Hmm.
are just sitting in place and not really doing much, not really making the calls necessary, it's a problem. And again, that becomes another measure of work avoidance. And there's a very successful team that I have a tremendous relationship with. And they're in Canada, great people. And so one of the things that they do with their team, because they know that this is going to happen, if it doesn't happen in the dialer, if you will, in their CRM, then it didn't happen.
Hmm.
If the notes don't exist, if the call history doesn't exist, if the call recording doesn't exist, then you didn't do it and there's no excuse. And they have a zero tolerance policy for it. And it helps them out because everyone will say, oh, yeah, I made my calls. And it's constant excuse after excuse. But when you have the measuring sticks in place, and the
Yeah.
proof is in the database, it's unavoidable.
Well, speaking of teams, when we're talking about burnout in our job, I think there's a relic from COVID that is not helping the industry. And that is that people started practicing on their own and they lost some community and support. And the community and support is huge to keep you engaged because, yes, there's as many ways to do real estate as there are realtors, I would say. However, you can always learn, but you're never going to learn if you're hiding your light in some little crevice over here. You got to get in with other people. You got to talk to your broker and your coach. You got to, choose to have some collaboration with other people, however that might be. So that's another way to avoid burnout is when you start feeling that way, that things are just tired and you can't quite get through it, to go meet with some people and find out how they do things, and you'll get supercharged. Yeah.
No doubt about that. And I think if you're in the right place and you have the right people around you that can help you to move your business forward, I think that's huge. And not a lot of brokerages, quite frankly, have that. They don't have structure to it. Even their mentor programs, they don't vet the mentors. It's an unstructured extra percentage that's going to come out of the commission because they were your mentor.
Mhm.
But you're not really helping them to progress as much as you're using them as free labor to get some of your work done. But I think what happens a lot of times is they think they have to go to an external source.
Mhm.
So they have to all of a sudden go out and seek a coach or whatever. And I can remember years ago, an agent that was with me at the time, he'd been with me for about 3 months, been to a lot of classes, listened to a lot of what I was going over, but the disconnect was the execution part.
Mhm.
It was the absorption, the understanding without the action. You can't move the needle that way. Again, that's work avoidance. And we went to see like a top agent present. It was something that was sponsored by a title company. And at the break, about six of us from the office get together at the break. We're all chatting. I'm like, what did you take away from any of this? What did you get? And he goes, oh, a big realization. I was like, oh, what's your big takeaway? Pretty much have to listen to you more because everything they've said today, you've probably said to me 3 times at least. And but that's the law of familiarity.
Yeah.
So sometimes that source that's
Mhm.
closest to you, it's kind of like parents. Um, you know, people can say it to you all day long when they're right there, but all of a sudden somebody else says it, and it takes credence. Like, whoa, that's magic. It's like I've been telling you that for 6 months.
There's another little corollary to this, and that is if you feel yourself like winding down or getting burnt out a bit, if you can teach other people how to do what you do, if you can mentor, if you can volunteer to help other people become better at what they do, suddenly the stuff that you do makes more sense and you get engaged and fired up. It's a great way to get out of that mode of being burnt. Yeah.
100% agree. When I'm teaching or when I'm speaking, it is not uncommon for me to find a new angle or a new motivation, if you will, um, provided that topic just on what I'm thinking of as I present. It's just another layer of what I need to be doing. And it continues to make me a sharper and better coach to anybody that's around me. And I take great joy in helping people while at the same time I explain to people it keeps me sharp as well.
Right. Plus, you get access to that beginner's mind, because not just they have that beginner's mind, which is a questioning about what does this mean and how does that make any sense? But it allows you to also re-examine the way you've been thinking about things and see if you need to freshen it up a bit. So,
And success enjoys success. Very, I'm just going to say more people burn out in this business when they're not doing well.
oh yeah.
When you're doing well, it feels good. When you get momentum and you have that wave and you feel like you're riding it, it uh, it becomes euphoric for a lot of salespeople. It's the sweet smell of victory, if you will,
Right.
and you're on a roll. It's like dominoes, and I find that unfortunately, people start to, if you don't have that structure, if you haven't committed to the structure that put in place that got you where you're at, and you're not committed to it, so it starts to crumble behind the scenes while you're getting these successes. The business that you were building before is starting to fall apart. You just don't see that gap coming until it finally hits you. And then you're wondering what happened. And you're blaming the market or you're blaming something else. And really, what it is you didn't, going back to what we said before, you didn't remain committed to the most important appointment you have. And that is the important appointment for yourself, not just in the downtime, but also in the revenue producing activity area. Because you can't, no business can say, hey, we're going to close our doors until we take care of everybody in the store and then we'll open them again. Because when they go over and open them, the line is gone. And that's effectively what some people do in this business is they forget you have to continue to to stay true to the structure that got you there, or it's going to be a problem soon.
Yeah. So, but how do you stay true to it? I think one of the keys to that is to revisit why you do this to begin with.
Mhm.
What are the things? And it's because it's not just money. It never is just money. And in fact, that's the worst guidepost. The better guidepost is to see what is motivating you to help people get a home? What is motivating you to earn that money? What are you going to do with it? Why are you supporting yourself and other people? And how are you helping those other people? For me, the code of ethics actually is the key to all of this because when I look at the code of ethics, I see that we're acting in the benefit of other people without regard to our fiduciary, I mean, with regards to fiduciary duties, but without regard to the money coming in. And that focuses my heart in what I'm doing. And if the heart is there, the mind is willing. So,
Yeah, 100% agree. So, some big news this week too, in addition to everything that we're talking about. There's been a bit of buzz about a particular portal
hmm.
having some new initiatives in the AI world. Have you heard anything about this, John?
Oh, I don't know. It could be something with a Z. Have they been in the news? And, you know,
They've mastered pushing out the MLS on ChatGPT.
well, for 20 years, I have heard people say, Zillow's coming over the hill. We're going to all die. and, and it hasn't happened
some,
yet.
some people have, but uh, it's interesting to me the fear that people in our own business and how much of a buzz we create for others when it's a big hullabaloo about a bunch of nothing, quite frankly. Um, they're already being pursued over this because you cannot republish MLS data. That is a violation of their agreement with MLSs. They cannot do that. That's a no-no. I think they're learning that the hard way. But the other thing is, while everyone else is worrying about this and trying to be the number one thing, like if I go over to ChatGPT or Siri or whatever, hey, who's the top agent in zip code, whatever? Everyone's trying to figure out how to be that mention.
Hmm.
Well, it's used almost 150 times less than Google today. And I really believe that it's going to be decades before an AI type of system like that will be surpassing things like Google. Because we, okay, me, you, most people, and still to this day, people have been around for decades. We're visual monkeys. We respond to visual things, content wise, much more than verbal or words. 70% of learning is visual learning. but there's no visual output to these things at this point in time. It's why, yeah, you could talk to Siri about what house I should go see or whatever, but there's nothing rewarding coming back to use a visual imprint on your mind and give you that immediate gratification that you could get on Google or any number of other places. And I think we're playing the small game when we focus on those things rather than focusing on the big picture of controlling the things that we can control and taking care of the business that we can garner by staying true to the habits that we have in our own business and our own structure.
Yep. I agree with you.
So are you at the end of this, are you going to go on Chat GPT and ask it who the top agent is in your area?
Oh, I already did, but I said, I don't really know. I mean, it depends. What does top mean? Number one. Number two, can you be clear about what your area is? And oh, I
Mhm.
don't have that data. Sorry.
You gotta love it. But it's
Mm.
funny though. Everybody else in our business is like the sky is falling. Like, where's Chicken Little? Meanwhile, it's like, relax, focus on the things
Right.
I mean, focus on yourself. Good grief. Not get it together, people. I mean, get your structure in place. Stay true to your structure. Don't change it every other day, but
No.
really get a routine down. It's like just like exercise. If you're
Right.
looking to make a measurable change, it's going to be not weeks, it's going to be months of work before you begin to see the results. And if you're constantly changing the program, the ability to see change is lost because the focus dissipates and you lack the consistency needed to make the change you're unable to see immediately. And that's really what a lot of this is within our business is so many people give up too early on things that can change their business because they just haven't put the time in.
And the last thing I would say here is you should, get out of your box, get out of your echo chamber, get out of the little place that you typically inhabit, go walk in nature, go meet new people, and you do those things, you're going to feel refreshed and you'll probably end up getting a deal and feel good about it?
You mean you got to get face to face with people?
Oh, how surprising. Yeah. And that's a little hard for ChatGPT.
Relationship building, that's a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is the thing.
I think it's become a lost art. Like you going back to what you said about COVID earlier, I think a lot of human interaction has become a lost art for some people, and they've got to get back into it, even when it's not comfortable. Make it comfortable. Have fun with it.
Well,
It's
we
good.
have a few more of these technology glitches, and we have a great big one, and maybe an EMF pulse or something, and we'll all have to get cozy with each other again.
I certainly hope so. Ugh.
Well,
What
this
do you
was
have planned
another.
for the rest of the day?
Hmm. Well, I am going to take my grandson out for his promised Indian dinner. So
Nice.
that will be happening. My neighbor has his car at a shop and he had to fly out of town. So I'm going to take my grandson to go help pick up his car and bring it back here. And,
Very good.
there'll be a few other things. Yeah.
Indian food. What's your go-to here? I mean, do you have certain things that you really enjoy on a menu?
Okay. So
Since you live there, and
I live,
I know you used to cook a lot of it.
I used to run a kitchen.
Hmm.
So the best Indian food is the stuff I make, actually. But when I take somebody out, it really depends upon what they want. So if they tell me that they want butter chicken, then we'll go to Saffron. If they tell me they want something like, I don't know, I could name a number of things, but there would be different restaurants in town for different specialties, in my opinion.
Goat? Are you doing goat?
Oh, I wish. Yeah,
Hmm.
I love goat.
A little goat korma. All right. Well, it's great to see you again.
You too,
We're Armed and Thirsty. I'm Lloyd Fox.
John Myjack.
Have a great day, everyone. See you next time.